So I don't care for draft 1, I don't care for draft 2, or any one that you propose. I oppose it.
It is vital that comprehensive health information includes sexual health. It is not controversial.
Sex education in Nebraska has been in the spotlight since the State Board of Education released their first draft of their health standards this past spring. After major blowback from people who said they went too far, a revised version was released just this week. But as 3 News Now reporter John Kipper tells us, a meeting in Lincoln today showed a lot of people still don't like it.
It was unlike any public meeting that I've ever been to. There were arguments throughout the crowd. There was loud cheering after almost every speaker, and jeering, booing, and even laughing after others. This all going to show just how polarizing the health education standards have become in Nebraska. The opponents came in numbers.
I don't care which draft you present. This is garbage.
Some with traditional values.
We preach abstinence to our children and to save sex for marriage between a man and a woman.
Dozens and dozens of folks came to the State Board of Education meeting Friday to voice their concerns with the second draft of the health education standards. Those standards include teaching kids about gender identity in the 7th grade, how to consent to touch and sexual activity, as well as defining body parts at earlier ages. These were more conservative than the original standards, but some said they still went too far.
It is a highly sophisticated and intentionally obfuscated restatement of version 1.
Others just want to see the sex education standards scrapped in public schools, saying it's on the parents to teach this behavior.
I will be honest, you have lost 100% of my trust and faith in you.
But there were plenty that showed up in support of these standards, and some that want them to go farther, saying more needs to be taught about those with LGBTQIA plus identities.
Just give them the knowledge to know who they are and that there are different people out there, and to treat every human being with respect and kindness.
Multiple testifiers pointed out that the suicide rate for LGBTQIA plus individuals is higher than heterosexual people. And teaching about different identities in schools can help prevent suicide.
Comprehensive sex education is suicide prevention.
Others feared that if sex education is not taught properly, kids will learn sex regardless, but from methods that nobody wants their children to learn from.
So if school is telling them they need to go to their families and their families are not a safe place, then they have nowhere left to turn but the internet, social media, and pornography.
LGBTQIA plus state senator Megan Hunt said she wishes she had better sex education in school, and said she may not have dealt with depression and anxiety if it was taught properly. She also says parents can avoid education they morally disagree with.
Parents still have the ability to homeschool, and they have the ability to send their kids to private and alternative schools, which many of them are. And parents will be able to opt out of this curriculum if they want to.
The meeting went out of control at times, with people yelling at the board members, and one man, Sam Schlegel, seeming to threaten an insurrection, like what happened on January 6th if the State Board of Education passes the standards.
So what is it going to take? How many of us do need to stand up? How many January 6th do you people need to see? I'd suggest you start paying attention.
The board is set to finalize the standards at some point this fall. In Lincoln, John Kipper, 3 News Now.
Multiple board members spoke later in the meeting that they largely agree with the sex education standards, and they have to represent all students. At least one member said she wasn't sure if the board should pass the sex education standards.